Thank you, Susan. I'm Geraldine Russell, and I say this for Joy. I am from Tallahassee, Florida. When I first started working with Joy as part of the facilitator training team, she's like, Tallahassee, Florida, and I said it every single time. So anyway, I have a name that's a little bit difficult for some people, so they do seem to remember Tallahassee. I'm actually here to introduce Trish Ellis in just a moment. She's going to be bringing us, I think, to that quiet place of inner peace. And what I wanted to do in particular was, as on behalf of our facilitator training team for attitudinal healing, and working with a very dear friend, Patricia, who some of you know. Patricia has been part of the leadership team of the Attitudinal Healing Center in Western Australia, Perth, for over 25 years. I know Tricia just visited there. Diane just visited, I think, last year. And they've been very actively participating together in some wonderful attitudinal healing programs. So together, we just sent out an appeal, if you will, for appreciation letters for Trish. So these are quite personal letters that were written to her. We formulated them into a journal. And I'm presenting that to her, but I wanted to just read a few lines from one of the letters because it gives you a sense of appreciation and the connection that you've had with so many people around the world. This is from Moses and Uma in Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, Moses and Uma. An appreciation to Madam Trish. Ladies and gentlemen, at this gathering, allow me, on behalf of our Attitudinal Healing Group Uganda, to extend our sincere appreciation to Madam Trish. Trish helped us understand more about attitudinal healing and helped us translate its principles to approachable ways of life. At first, members thought it was about faith or spirituality. Others considered it to be a mental health practice. We started with skills for students integrated in attitudinal healing, but realized it was restricting our services only to education. We realized that many people were missing out. We then thought of an all-embracing approach, and by grace of experience and knowledge, nature, connectedness emerged. Madam Trish guided us, and we're involving the population of attitudinal healing forest bathing. Forest bathing, I saw some heads come up, yes. She's made attitudinal healing a multi-phase practice, regardless of the environment, race, faith, and orientation. Some of our accents are difficult to pick up, but this lady can listen to you. Then you both come to a strategy. She provides the literature and the facilitation to enable the message to reach the unreached. Then there was a time when terrorist bombs attacked Kampala. Swiftly, we saw your message inquiring whether we're safe. This is love. You're a blessed person. Live long, the beloved lady. And together, let's join our hands. This is from Moses asking us all to give you a warm, wonderful applause.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you, Moses. Thank you, Jerry Jimpolsky and Diane. My journey with attitudinal healing has become such a huge part of my life. I met my husband through attitudinal healing. I've healed so many wounds through attitudinal healing. I've learned to forgive through attitudinal healing. And I've been able to connect with people around the world who I never would have been able to connect with in my own little life. So I'm so grateful to this journey, and I'm so grateful to be here with all of you. When I think of the theme of this conference, Ho'omau, Ke Aloha, our journey back to our natural self, returning to our natural self. So in the couple of days we've been together, we've heard so many stories about how life and the events of life do their best to help us forget who we are, to cause us to feel separate from that natural self. And we've also had the blessing of our time together in hearing not only the heartbreaking stories of how people feel separated from their natural self, but also the inspiring stories of the courageous and heroic choices that people have made in their own lives after such heartbreaking experiences. To be able to choose again, to use those heartbreaks, use those hardships, use those experiences of abuse and unthinkable pain, to open their hearts, to stay present, to remember who they are, and to bring joy back into their lives. That's a courageous step. And as we've listened to all the stories the last few days, we hear people using the term inner peace a lot. And I think sometimes the idea of even remembering who we are, finding a word for that. What is that? Who am I? What is my natural self? We have a hard time coming up with the right word. We have words, love, light, aloha, that are our attempts to bring words to that experience of knowing who we truly are. And I think inner peace is another example of our human, sometimes feeble attempts to describe what that experience is of returning to our natural self. When we can connect with our natural self, even in a fleeting moment or in some extended timeless time, we know what that feels like. And as humans, we communicate with words, so we want to find a word that can describe that experience. And inner peace, for me, is the closest I can come to describing what that experience is like. So I want to use my time with you today to give you some more opportunities to connect with each other and to explore within yourself, what does this mean to return to my natural self? What does this mean to experience inner peace? And maybe inner peace isn't the words that you would use to describe that experience. It doesn't matter. But you know what that experience is. And I'm going to invite you now to find for yourself an experiential inner reference point. that may not have any words to it at all, but the experience is one that you know and one that's familiar. So if you're willing, I invite you to focus your attention inward in whatever way feels comfortable for you. If you want to close your eyes or just divert your gaze so you're not distracted. And first, just notice how you feel right now. How does your body feel? Are there some emotions present for you? Are there some thoughts floating around? Just notice, what's the truth in this moment of your inner landscape? And is it possible in this moment, whatever is going on inside, for you to allow it to be exactly as it is, with no resistance, no inner conflict. Just accepting yourself exactly as you are in this moment. And just notice what's true. Yes, I can accept myself. No, I can't accept this. I can accept this, but not that. Whatever it is, can it just be okay? And now I invite you to reflect back on your own journey to your natural self. And just see, what memories does your heart bring to you when you think about returning to your natural self? Can you recall a time when you felt at home in your own heart? And if you can't recall a time like that, can you imagine a time? Can you imagine how it would be to feel at home in your own heart? And as you're imagining or recalling, where are you feeling that in your own body? Maybe in the heart, maybe you're in the owl, maybe all around you, surrounding you. Where is it? And just notice how that feels. Notice the feeling of being at home in your own heart, being connected to your true natural self. And with the next breath, when you're ready, Open your eyes, return your attention to the room. And even today and other days we've been together, you've had many chances to be connecting with each other in different ways. And I'm going to invite you to connect with each other in a different way right now. So from this place within your own heart that you've just connected to, that is your personal experience of connecting with your true self. I'm going to invite you to, in just a moment, to stand up and mingle around in the room with people in silence, and with the intention to recognize and appreciate the true self in each person that you encounter in the room. So I invite you to do it in silence, do it in a time frame that feels comfortable for you. You're just going to be walking around, seeing who you connect with. Take a moment to connect with that person. If eye contact is comfortable for you, make eye contact, and in whatever silent way you can, acknowledge the true self that you're witnessing. If this is uncomfortable for you and you don't want to participate in this way, that's perfectly okay. You can stay seated, or you can stand on the side and put your hands like this so people know you're present, but you don't want to participate. So we'll just do this for 5 minutes, maybe more, and see what the experience is for yourself. How is it for you to be coming from that place of inner peace at whatever level you are, whatever place that is for you, and connecting to another person's true nature? See what happens. You willing? Okay, whoever's willing, please stand up. And just as you're guided, go from person to person and connect in a way that makes sense to you and is meaningful to you. Now that you've had the experience of connecting with many different people without using words, if any of you would like to share in words what that was like for you, if you had something that was meaningful in this exchange that you'd be willing to share with all of us, we'd love to hear it. Amana.
Yeah, I just want to say that that was really beautiful, and thank you for that was really beautiful, and thank you for the request to not share words. I think that was just really profound, and really just seeing kind of the variation of connection with all the different beings here was very profound. So that was beautiful.
Thank you. Megan?
Wow. Before I was feeling badly about having to leave at the end of today. And now, my heart is so full and so blessed with everyone that I'm not leaving. And this is what I want to thank you. And that your work, of course, in a joyous way, this is continuing through all of us, and by us being able to connect. And there are no words even to express that kind of, I guess, the oneness we all experience soreness.
Yeah, it was good exercise. We are quite habitual to speak when we want to express something. But while looking at the other person and speaking your heart without using the words, having love in your eyes and respect in your eyes for the other person, and that was an exercise. It was just, for me, it was looking like my heart is just coming out through the eyes. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you.
The exercise took me back to college days. I took a course that I thought would be really easy. It was called Acting the Sensitivity Approach. And the professor had us all over for dinner one night. And the rule was the moment you entered the home, you took your shoes off. And this was in the East Coast where people don't take their shoes off. And then you zip your mouth. You couldn't say a word the entire evening. It was like a 3-hour experiment. We had dinner, dessert, and communicated without saying a word. And it was quite a profound experience for a 22-year-old. And this took me back to that.
Wonderful. Not quite 3 hours, but.
One last one?
Anyone else?
One last
One
one.
more, okay.
For me was the moment that the previous exercise when you said when we were meditating and connecting to our inner peace. And when I was meeting other people, I really want to reconnect with my inner peace. And there was such a big difference when I look at somebody's eyes from the perspective of the inner peace and my heart. It was just beautiful. I felt like I'm meeting all of you as the angels, or like some just universal love. And I think it's for me now. That's what I took from that little exercise, that I will do it always when I meet people. I will reconnect with my inner peace and my heart to be able to fully really connect with somebody. So thank you for that.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's a wonderful thought that, we really can do that anytime. And especially, like we've been hearing from this morning about conflict and how to approach conflict from a different place within ourselves, so that when we know we're going to have a conversation with someone that we may not see eye to eye with, what a good practice it could be to center ourselves first and come to the conversation from that place of peace. When we did attitudinal healing conferences many times over the years, and often I thought of it as just a lot of work and a lot of effort for a lot of people to have an excuse to get together and love each other. And that's kind of this one too. So many people have put so much time and energy and love into bringing us all together so that we could have a reason to get to know each other and love each other. So here we are. So inner peace, you just had your own personal experience of that, whatever that was for you, and you extended it to another person without words. Now I'd like you to just think about your life, that we're talking about returning to our natural self. So that implies that we've maybe become separated from that experience of inner peace at some point. and we wanted to come back to it. So when I think of my journey about inner peace, when I was young, I don't think I gave inner peace a thought. and if I did, it probably sounded boring and maybe impossible. You know? And then later on, maybe in my mid-20s, I think, I was introduced to meditation and had the concept of inner peace. But still, even at that time in my life, inner peace was a concept. And it was a brief experience sometimes sitting on the cushion, but I didn't know how to bring it into my real life. You know, I would meditate and then I'd go have an argument with somebody. And that happened for a long time, I hate to say. I really had a disconnect between, you know, where I could go inside myself and where I was able to go in interaction with other people. And I think when I was introduced to attitudinal healing is when I got the tools for bringing that sense of peace into my relationships with other people. And my concept of what inner peace meant changed over time too. Sorry.
Take your time. Take your time.
So I think I used to think of inner peace as another emotional experience, you know, one of whole range of emotional experiences. But I don't see inner peace that way anymore. I see inner peace as a deep sense of well-being that is capable of embracing and maybe transcending, but at least embracing any emotional experience. So think about that in your own life and see if that seems like a possibility for you. Now, is it possible to have inner peace and be grieving? Is it possible to have inner peace and be in pain? Is it possible to have inner peace and feel disconnected from somebody that you love? So in my experience, you know, sometimes yes, sometimes not yes. But at least potentially, I want to suggest to you that it is in the realm of possibility that deep sense of well-being doesn't have to be disrupted by the events of life, by the condition of our bodies, by the behavior of others, by the conditions in the world, that we can come to those things with, maybe it would be a radical acceptance of things the way they are, while at the same time striving to create something better. So just because things aren't perfect now, does that mean we can't be peaceful and approach the problems of life from a peaceful place? Would that change? Maybe change the outcome, maybe not change the outcome. But would it change the experience of how we're approaching solving the problems in the world and in our own lives? So I've got a bunch of slides, but I'm not sure I need to use them at this point, but let's take a look here and see.
I'll answer for you.
Okay. Okay, would you go to the next one, and then I'm going to come back to this one. So from an attitudinal healing perspective, inner peace is our natural state. So as I was saying in the beginning, when we return to our natural self, our natural state would be inner peace if we could live there all the time. So I haven't learned how to do that yet. Maybe there's somebody here who has, but even if we can't live there all the time, every moment we can choose to come back to it. So when we notice that we're not there, when we notice we feel disconnected, we can come back. So it's a state of no inner conflict. What does that mean, no inner conflict? So it doesn't mean that we don't take any action. And we've been hearing the last couple of days all the wonderful practices that are possible to bring us back to a place of peace. There's the forgiveness practices, the mindfulness practices, meditation practices, aloha practices, attitudinal healing principles. There's so many different choices we can make to help us come back, and we can find our own path back to our own natural state. The good news about it being our natural state is that it never goes anywhere. It's always there. So whenever we choose, we can choose to come back to it. It doesn't leave us. We just forget. And we can remember anytime. Attitudinal healing focuses a lot on conscious choice. So from an attitudinal healing perspective, inner peace can be accessed anytime through our own conscious choice. When we decide we want to come back to peace, we want to go in that direction, we can make choices that help us move there. We also talk in attitudinal healing about what blocks our ability to experience inner peace. And primarily, it's some form of fear. So, I'd like you to, for just a moment, think about something that has challenged your own inner peace. Maybe something in the present moment, maybe something from the past. To see if you can recall what that is. And if you can identify some form of fear that was connected with that. So we just have a few minutes left now. But if you would turn to, okay, I'm going to back up. So identify the fear if you can. And what is one thing, one choice you could make about this situation that challenges your peace, to let go of the fear and return to love? What's one thing you could do? So if you're willing, turn to a partner and just share with each other for a minute or two what robs your peace, what's the fear, what choice you could make to return to love. Go ahead. So just in wrapping up this little piece of time that we had together, yeah, just a reminder from Jerry that inner peace isn't something we're doing just for ourselves. When we make the heroic choice to let go of our grievances, to forgive, to return to our natural state of inner peace, we bless everyone that we come in contact with. It changes our experience of life, it changes our relationships, it changes how we perceive the problems in the world and how we approach solving them. And I invite you now to, just within your own heart, to make a commitment to yourself to do one thing today that will take you one step closer to inner peace. Thank you all.